Welcome to the Rad Dad Redemption Podcast. Here's your hosts, Drew and Dex.
All right. Welcome in to the show.
Yeah, welcome back, everybody.
Super special show.
The specialist show we've ever had.
Yeah, in our short careers.
Yeah, this is unbelievable, unprecedented. We are here live in studio, the dump cast in effect.
Yeah.
You cleaned.
My wife made me clean the basement. She's like, "You're having somebody come over."
You're having a
know.
friend over. Oh, yeah.
She's like, "I have a reputation to uphold."
Yeah.
So she had yesterday. She had Kennedy vacuuming down here. That was her chore because she's on spring break.
Oh, nice.
And then I was down here, and I was like, "Well, there's the bike there." And
I see you put out some workout stuff.
Yeah, I put out some workout stuff.
You decorated
for appearances. No, I've been riding the bike, and so it definitely smelled like
you've been
a
lifting the
heavy-set
weights.
man has been working out in an enclosed space down here. So
we wanted to get it
just
ready.
Spritzing Febreze all over the place. Just
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, it's fresh.
And you cleaned yourself. I was actually you're talking about the room. I was like, you look great.
I had a shower. I had a haircut yesterday.
Whoa!
Yeah, I went all out. Anyway, I feel like we're really burying the lead here. We have a guest
in studio right now with us, Kelsey Norman, fitness professional. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're very excited. You're our first like legitimate guest.
Oh, wow. I feel very honored.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some like make-believe guests.
Yeah, we did call Brad, I guess, in the last episode.
Yeah, we phoned our buddy. We have new call-in capabilities. So
Well,
we just,
don't downplay Brad. I'm not first.
Well-
You got to give him that.
First in person.
Oh, okay.
yeah, we'll give that to him. But you're much more special. for a
I
number
just
of
really
reasons.
need to know
Sorry,
what you've
Brad.
been told.
We've been told great things. So you did come highly recommended to us, which we'll unpack. And it is a timely guest appearance because Dex and I, towards the end of this month, are actually competing in a fitness combine.
What sparked you to do that?
It was our New Year's resolution episode.
Yeah, we kind of just on the
Okay.
spot, it popped up and we were joking about it. And then after talking, like, yeah, we should just have this competition like an NFL combine.
Okay.
We kind of came off air and fleshed it out. We're like, that would actually be a good idea. And potentially
Hilarious.
when we didn't do well. or we're not very resolute.
So to explain what the combine entails to me, like what will you be doing? Is there a specific day that you're doing it? Is it just the two of you? Is it a whole bunch of people? Like what's happening there?
Started out just the two of us.
Okay.
And now we have cousin Graham and then my brother, who are both fitness nuts.
Okay.
And so we thought that would be really funny to have people who are actually good at exercise and actually capable in a lot of these different categories.
And have been taking it serious for a long time.
Yeah, we wanted to see
Longer
where
than a few months.
We wanted to see where we stacked up
So
against
you're really
humans.
just testing that comparison as a thief of joy idea. We're here for the laughs.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. We're testing this to the limit.
We think comparison will provide joy.
I think you might be right.
Entertainment, maybe.
Just because your approach is fun with it, which is cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so we're doing the 40-yard dash, which is the classic NFL. You know, how fast can you sprint?
Classic.
Okay.
We've got the bench press, most reps. We've got standing.
So most reps at what weight?
Interesting question, because in the NFL it's 225.
Yes.
We are not NFL professionals.
Well, I mean,
We definitely were like, that'd be funny if it was just a 0-0 tie
Yeah.
across the board. But we agreed to do 135. So one plate
Okay.
aside, most reps.
We've got standing vertical jump.
Yes. We've got broad jump,
okay.
length.
We've got the shuttle run.
Yeah.
Or the T run.
Oh, T drill.
T drill, yeah.
Yeah, I'm still unclear on that. What is the T drill?
So we may both be surprised, but I'm pretty sure it's also referred to as the shuttle run, where you there's 3 cones and you go forward, sideways, backwards, and then through.
Oh,
So it's like an agility turning on the spot.
Agility?
Yeah, I think that's what
agility?
I could be wrong. I could be very wrong, but I think it.
That's okay.
Yeah,
And then the beep test.
beep test.
You still have time to study for this test you're going to put yourself through.
Studying time's over. This is like me practicing for my exam, like cramming the week before.
When is the date?
April. So we had originally chosen Saturday, April 20th, but just because of the venue, because we actually have a moderator.
Okay.
We have a gentleman named Daryl, who's also a real beefcake, and he's going to show up and actually run all the events for us at
amazing.
Strathmore High School, and then they also have a weight room there.
Okay.
So because of space restrictions, it's on Sunday the 21st,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is good because I need all the time. That extra 24 hours.
Parts of this we're taking very seriously. We have an official, and we have an official date.
We've put some thought and time into this.
Okay. Do you feel like you're prepared?
No.
Well,
I was texting you last night, and I was because you were like, "Come play Halo."
yeah, oh
And
yeah,
I was
play
like-
video games.
I was like, "No, I have to work out," and you were like, "Why?" And I was like, "I'm genuinely afraid I'm gonna lose every event," and so, and especially because I've been hyping myself up in the 40-yard dash.
Yep.
And I feel like everybody has been saying I'm gonna win the 40-yard dash. That I'm like really scared I'm not gonna win.
Yeah, there's some
Are
pressure
you
on
a
you.
runner? Like, do you...
I played high level competitive soccer for
Okay.
years, so I feel like I have that muscle memory. I am quick, but I'm also out of shape.
Joe just hit bingo. He was like, I think out of your 30 episode career, Dex has talked about his high level soccer 18 times.
Yeah, well, it's the only
To be
thing
fair,
I got.
I asked.
It's the only thing I got.
So Dex is a really high level soccer athlete. So he's taking it seriously.
Okay.
It's actually our wives have been kind of egging us on a bit. And I think maybe a little engineering there because they're like, oh, they're going to actually exercise and eat right. So they've been coming home and telling us word of mouth how much the other is training.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
They like pitting us
Okay.
against each other.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we weren't taking it seriously. And then I heard Dex was running like 2 days. And I was like, that fucking guy.
That's motivation right there.
I don't want to lose.
Yeah, and then Alicia came home yesterday. She's like, Drew just ran 6K on the weekend.
I did.
And I was like, what's a K? 6K what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
But the lead up to this has been just absolutely polluted with misinformation and internet facts and just kind
Okay.
of, we'll just say something and be like, it must be true, liar, liar style. Like I was able to say it. It's a real thing. So we're so excited to have you here because we're going
Yeah.
to clear up some of that stuff.
Hopefully. I mean, maybe not.
But I guess, like, let's jump into it. You've gone through, like, your own fitness journey, and that's what led you. So you're a coach at F45,
Yep.
where both of our wives go.
Yeah.
You do group classes at Goodlife.
I do.
I know I've seen you because I work out at Goodlife.
He doesn't. He
Occasionally.
uses the sauna. He has a sauna membership.
I've seen you on
That's
my walk
really
to the sauna.
unfortunate because our sauna is always down.
I know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I wasn't going to bring that up. But
Extended bathroom time.
there's signs all over it, and they're like, "Please don't pour water on it."
And
Please
people
d-"
keep pouring water
Like-
on it. It's a dry sauna,
You know what?
friends.
It's classic. Like, I just imagine like these classic like dudes that look like they carry suitcases everywhere, but they can't read.
Yeah.
It's just pouring water on.
Okay. Well, it's funny that you said that because as you're talking about this, I'm that fucking guy. I didn't realize
read?
when I can't read. That's old news. But when the
You're
sauna,
teaching children.
yeah, math.
Okay.
Right? I can read numbers, right? It is funny. Every now and then I'll have to like write something out on the board. And they'll see me pause, and I have a couple like really smart as a whip kids, and they're like, Mr. Hoover can't spell. And I'm like, hey, hush up now. How many P's in Apprentice? Now, the rocks in the container, the heated rocks in the dry sauna, they look inviting to water. Like I am the guy that's like, I could schwitz. Let's take this dry sauna to another level. Psh, a little Gatorade, little electrolyte bath, and you're here to tell me that is not good for the system.
It's really not.
That is why the sauna is.
That's why there's that placard above it. It says,
Reading.
even if you can't read it says do not.
It has a diagram.
Yeah, it shows.
They
you.
probably
There's a
should add
visual.
pictures.
It's the guys with the briefcase, like stick man, just dumping water on the rocks.
So you're the problem. Okay, stop it.
I don't have the sauna membership. That's Dex. He
That's
goes
just me.
Okay.
goes to Goodlife. He crunches, not abs, in the toilet. Then he goes to the sauna. Oh, it's shut down today. Has a shower, and then throws his towel over his shoulder and walks out. Same time tomorrow, boys.
See you tomorrow. But so anyway, you've gone through your own fitness journey. Tell us about that.
Okay, so let's see if I can figure out where to start. Okay, so after my first son was born, and this was like almost 14 years ago now, I was probably at my most unhealthy. I was around 325 pounds. And just kind of, there was a moment where I went, if I don't get my shit together, I'm not going to be able to see this kid live his life. And so I really wanted to do that. And so I had been working in Lethbridge at Superstore in the portrait studio, and there was a women's only Goodlife Fitness upstairs within the Superstore. I walked in and I got a gym membership. I started working out there, and eventually I started working there. I started working at the front desk, and I became like their Monday to Friday person. And after being there for probably about 6 months, 6 to 8 months, like I had started to shift my own fitness, and I was going to group classes like crazy because I could make the times and it kept me accountable. And after a while, one day the group fitness manager walked in, and she went around to the office, then came back, and I hear her go, "Hey, you should really sign up to teach this new body class. Like you should go to training." And I looked behind me because I was like, there's no way she's
Not
talking
talking to
to
me.
me. Like there's absolutely not a chance. Like I'm probably still around 270 pounds at this point, and so hard on myself, because I think that's what we all struggle with, is that we're really judging ourselves hard. And she's like, "No, you, Kels, like you're awesome. Like you've got great energy. Your technique is awesome. And I think you can do this. Like if you want to do this." And I was like, seriously? Because I'd never even thought about doing it. Wasn't in my wheelhouse, which is laughable because I was in school for my bachelor's of science in kinesiology and psychology at the time. And I was like, why did I never think of helping people move in that way? I wanted to just go into physiotherapy. Like that's what I wanted to do. And then my whole career pivoted in one casual conversation. And I went, well, I'll give it a shot. And that was probably the hardest 3 months of my life as I went to this training. My child was like 8 months old, and I started doing this thing that took so much out of me. And there were so many times I went, this is stupid. I don't
Why am
want
I
to do
doing
this. This is so dumb.
That's what we do
I can't,
with everything.
I can't memorize any choreography. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have to film myself teaching this 60-minute class just to get approved to teach other people how to move doing it. How am I going to do that? And now I've done that 6 more times, like with multiple certifications. But at the start, it was really hard from a physical standpoint and then mental as well, because you're learning something new. And anytime you're trying to learn something new, it's hard. It does get easier. And that's the same to be said with like physical movement, as well as learning any sort of new skill. It's tough out the gate, and you just have to keep sticking with it and going. So over the last 12, 13, 14 years, I've lost over 170 pounds and shifted my body composition, but it hasn't been fast. And that's the thing that's really hard for people to stomach and figure out, is that there's no quick fix.
170 pounds.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I've lost 2 large breed dogs. Yeah.
I was going to say a whole person, but we can all like measure in different ways.
Yeah.
You
Like,
lost 50% of me.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away. So I think that's a common thing, to bring it to the very start of your story.
Yeah.
Bring it back. When you have young kids, you know,
They're a big motivator. Like,
super intrinsic. Like, I want to be here for them.
yeah. And I wasn't always heavy either. Like, I was a high performance athlete. I played,
You played high level soccer?
no, I did not, but I played basketball, right? That was my sport. And I played 4 years of ball on a blown knee. Like, I had been misdiagnosed in the States with tendonitis. Really, I had dislocated the knee, blown my ACL, and then continued playing with no ACL and meniscus tears for years, because they told me I had tendonitis, which I do, but tendonitis feels like bone on bone grinding. But reality is, by the time I hit 18, I literally was just bone on bone. There was nothing left in between. So then I spent 8 weeks in a wheelchair after having my leg drilled into, it's called microfracturing, where you rebuild the meniscus. And then I have a cadaver ACL. So I've had 3 knee surgeries, and I was absolutely terrified of hurting myself again. And so I went from working out all the time to doing nothing and being actually afraid of physical activity. Like, there was a time in my life where I was like, no, because I don't want to hurt myself. And now, like, I have injured myself again since, like, even a good 6 months ago, I sprained my knee pretty severely and I had to do physio, and it took 3 months for me to get back to a place where I am now, where I could go after box jumps, but I'm just not ready to do it in the headspace because I just don't want to tweak it or hurt myself. And I'll never have the same range of motion on both sides. I'm okay with that. There are so many things I can do, and I celebrate the heck out of that. I don't need to do everything. I got to leave some stuff for other people to be good at.
Well, you got to know yourself,
like,
right? Because
yeah.
if this has become such a massive part of your life, you know, if you're not mindful of that previous injury, just like you said before, it happens, and then you're not engaging in anything.
Yeah.
You've taken yourself out of the game completely.
Well, that's kind of the case for a lot of people, where our lifestyle shifts with us through our aging, right? Like everyone starts out high school, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people are moving because physical activity is mandated in school, right? Or maybe you're an athlete and you're playing sports all the time. And then as we age, we have to grow up. It's so unfortunate. And you get a job and you start sitting down and you're not getting those steps that you maybe once were. And it's little things that start to trickle away, that you have to actively try to bring back into your routine in order to keep your body healthy, because it might not be quickly that we put on weight. And it can be as simple as, oh, I went from getting, 9,000 steps a day. Now I'm down to 4. How did that happen? Because you're shifting what you're doing, and it happens slowly. For some, it happens quick, where for me, it was pretty abrupt. Like I went from having to completely switch around my things. And I also grew up in rural Montana where fast food was not readily accessible. And so when I moved from Montana to Lethbridge for school, and there was McDonald's and Wendy's and A&W and all of these things all the time, like that I hadn't really tried or had near me, I ate so much shit because I just wanted to try it. Right.
Yeah.
And then it was good and it was cheap.
Oh, you're speaking my language.
So I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have all that. Well, now at the time I was like, oh, I feel like shit because I'm eating crappy. Actually, I also am celiac and I didn't know.
That'll do it.
I was like, oh, wow. So you shouldn't just be in like physical hurdled over pain constantly after you eat. That's wild. Yeah. So for a vast majority of my life until after my second child, I had no idea. Yeah. So that also made a big difference in like weight loss and stuff for me. So
now, do you think like you've been through this journey, and I feel like a lot of people can kind of share in that experience where you're playing high level sports, and then you become an adult, as you said, you're walking less, maybe you don't have organized sports or whatever, and then you're trying to get back into it. Do you feel like having gone through kind of those motions makes you, I don't want to say better, but like you can relate to people that are in your classes. You know exactly what they're going through. You haven't been shredded since day one. You've gone through what they're trying to accomplish.
I don't think of myself as shredded now, right? Like I honestly, I have such a deep appreciation for my body that I wouldn't otherwise have, because I've been on both ends of the spectrum and seen many phases of my life. So for example, there was one time I was teaching a group fitness class and I was not as you know, as fit as I am now. And there was a time when I moved from Calgary to Lethbridge and I had just started teaching, and I walked into a Goodlife to cover a class. They didn't have the correct discipline. I was standing in just to teach a different program to give these people something they were showing up for. It was supposed to be a Jillian Michaels body shred class, and it's like a 30-minute HIIT program. I wasn't certified in it, so I offered what's called New Body. I mentioned that earlier. It's Goodlife's signature program. It's low impact cardio with handheld weights. And you can make it really hard if you want to. You can make anything hard if you put the effort into it, right? But I'm standing there and this class is going to start. I'm letting these people know, and there's probably like 20 people in front of me. And I'm already feeling insecure because this isn't the right class. And this lady looks me up and down and goes, yeah, we're not staying. We came for Jillian. And
No way.
Yes. And so like there's many moments in your career where you can't really control what people are going to say or do. But then on the other end, like years later, after I've got in shape, I invited someone to come to my class and they started laughing and they're like, oh my God, no, I can't do your class. You're way too fit. And so as a reality check to people, like you do not know what someone has gone through. And I am never going to be that coach that comes at you trying to make you move how I move. I'm going to meet you where you are. And that means I'm going to either give you a progression if you need to level up, or I'm going to give you a regression to help you meet you where you are and where you want to go. Like, it's not my job to try and abuse you or give you not what you came for. I'm going to give you what you need. And that's just as being a good coach, right? So there's also definitely a moment where you're stepping on a stage and you're just being judged by people and you have to be okay with it.
How did that, so you were saying that you were working at the counter and you had this person, it sounds like maybe an important person or at least an important moment that just saw you and were like, this is your class, new body's your class. And I would be terrified.
I definitely was. And my initial response was, well, I'd rather go and certify in body pump because I like weightlifting and that's more my jam. And so originally I just kind of hemmed and hawed. And so the negotiating that happened was, well, we don't need anyone for that program right now, but if you certify in this and show us that you can do it, then we'll make the time to give you a spot for new body when it or for body pump when it becomes available. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I can do this. Somebody else believes in me enough to think that I can. I'm going to take a little bit of that and believe in myself. So sometimes all it takes to try something else is somebody to believe in you a bit. So I spend a lot of my time believing in other people until they believe enough in themselves to actually give it a go, because you might think you can't do that thing, but how do you know you can't if you don't even try, right? Like, why are you going to hold yourself back with this mentality or mental block of, oh, I can't do that, when you actually didn't give it a go? So if I don't try, I've already failed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that. I got to ask though, and this was close to home. You brought up Lethbridge.
Yeah.
And then you start working out and you're seeing some results, you're getting to know your body in a new way. Or like you said, you've been historically a high level athlete playing basketball. You're almost kind of like rediscovering this latent ability because I went to Lethbridge and the food is amazing.
Yep.
And we were doing food tours all the time. And obviously I was a little younger, but it was one of those things when I started working out or when I was exercising, and we've talked about this before, it just immediately gave me permission to do all of the bad stuff I was already doing. I'm like, well, okay, at least I'm going to eat this Jamie sandwich, which is just a pizza with...
Oh, I know what it is.
Oh, yeah, okay, shout out Jamie. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
But then I was like, yeah, but I ran, but I'm cool. So how, when you were finding that motivation, when you were finding... Thanks, Dex. Little mic mess up.
Yeah.
We'll fix that in post.
I was trying to do that really discreetly.
You looked good. How did you stay motivated, not only from the exercise standpoint, but were you eating healthy right away? Like, how did that all come at once?
Well, no. And there's kind of like 3 facets for weight loss, really. So, and it'd be wonderful if you could work all 3 at the same time. But when you're first starting out, focusing on nailing 2 of them is a good place to start. Like, a lot of people focus really heavily on diet. And I would say that diet is, if you can only do one, that's the one, is give yourself good food. Be in a calorie deficit. That's another one. And then third is exercise, movement, right? Like you have to train your heart. You have to give your cardiovascular system something to actually put to use all of the calories that you're giving it. And so your calorie deficit can be something where it can be potato chips and Coke, right? Or you can make it quality food and you're going to get a better result. It's ideal if you can make all 3 of those things your focus, but that doesn't always happen for us. Maybe you can't afford good food.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe you can't, because who really can in this economy? No.
Honestly,
I think anybody with kids that has to buy berries.
It's hard. Or you end up feeling guilty if they've left food on their plate and you finish it. How many times have you done that?
I did that last night.
Yeah.
Like how many times have you done that?
As I was making my own dinner.
Yeah. So, and that's what we call second supper. It's one of those things where making sure you are mentally aware of what you're putting into your body and how you're moving it and the quality of what you put into you. It does matter. So
you sort of already answered this question. This is something we wrote down. You're saying, it's this Triforce.
Yeah.
Keeping the Zelda references going, but you've got the 3 different parts. One of our questions that we'd written down, exercise versus diet.
I would say diet is more like it's more important. But the kicker is, like, if you're constantly eating in a surplus, even if it's calorie food or quality food, increase of calories, you're going to store it, right? So you cannot out exercise a poor diet. Just straight up, you can't do it. You can't out exercise poor diet. So if you're constantly in a surplus, your body is designed to respond to how you treat it. And that's why that mentality has really helped me not be angry with myself or anything that I've ever done where like, oh, I got really out of shape. Well, it's like you asked your body to do that and it just answered the call. Like it answered those calls to action. It's taken really good care of you. Like you fed it that much, it stored it, and it just went, hey, we're going to do what you asked.
Fair enough.
You know, so it's one of those things where what are you going to ask yourself to do right now? And why are you asking it? You know, because if you're asking your body to adjust for a moment in time, is it really sustainable, right? Like if you're getting in shape for your wedding, you want to look good in your pictures.
For a combine to defeat my friends.
You know, that's all fine, well and good. But reality is that, is it something you can maintain as a lifestyle? And so like I've had moments in time where, oh my gosh, I'm rocking a six pack. That's amazing. No one sees it. I'm not showing anybody. And then for instance, right now I'm coming off an injury. I've put on a little bit of weight because I couldn't move my body the same way. I didn't feel like I wanted to adjust my calorie intake because food brings me joy. So am I okay with storing a little bit of extra calories? Yeah, I am, because I don't want to be depressed and miserable. So you have to decide what's important in the long run and what works for your lifestyle. Because if you're training for a moment in time, that's all fine, well and good. But you also have to know that it's probably not sustainable.
Uh-oh.
Well, yours sounds more like a physical effort, and it's getting you, started on a wellness path, perhaps, where you want to do something. So, don't like. Are you going to continue?
You're doing the half marathon too, though.
But this is, as we're having this conversation, I'm flashing back. So, the amount of times in my life that I have gotten really fit and lost a lot of weight. Are equal, if not less than, the amount of times I have gained all that weight back. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely a thing where I'll pick a moment in time, like you're saying. Yeah. Oh, I've got this race coming up. Oh, I've got this combine coming up. Oh, my wedding, which unfortunately I did not. That was not enough motivation. But pick out some.
Sorry, Megan.
Yeah, it was fun. I did the classic thing where you get your suit. Yeah. And the tailor's like, okay, like we're going to make it this size, blah, blah, blah. We're going to take it out here. And I'm like, easy fucking buddy. I'm actually going to come in here in 3 months, shredded.
I'm going to be cut.
I'm going to be yoked. So actually order me a size 30 pants and let's go with these sleeveless tucks. And buddy's like, okay, well, this is my job. And I get a lot of guys like you.
I heard this 5 times today.
And it was like, I was 3 days before the wedding. I was going in. I was like, can you add more material? Can you make these pants the size that would fit a guy like me? But I've been a yo-yo dude forever. Yeah. And I think, I don't want to say it's a problem, but it is probably boils down to making a lifestyle change for my benefit long term and kind of reframing how I'm thinking about it. Whereas you just nailed it. Like I'm just in my head right now. I'm like, yeah, just pick moments. I want to be fit for this. And then I won't be. The minute we finish that race, like I'm going to be like Stone Cold Steve Austin, smashing beers above my head, and it's going to be summer, and I might not run again.
I hope there's snow.
So I'm just, like it's, how do you find that? Like I guess what you have to do is you have to really want it. You have to want to change.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing with people is you have to actually want to make a significant change, or it isn't something you're going to do. And like we get a lot of people who reach out and they're interested in trying something, or they want to do a trial, and they'll have the intention or like a hot moment thing that sparks and ignites their interest. Like, I don't know, a New Year's resolution. And they're like, oh my gosh, this sounds amazing because everybody else is doing it. And they jump on a bandwagon, but they're not actually committed to it. That's the biggest fall short with people, is having the level of commitment that actually is a meaningful one where you're going to see it through enough to be accountable. And that's why for me, like group fitness really worked, because I come from a team sport background. I like the camaraderie. It forces me to be accountable. I can also go into a gym and work out on my own and push myself really hard, but I do find I work harder and consistently within a group. And you've got to find what works for you. It doesn't matter if you are training, heavy weights, low reps, or high like rep, low weight. As long as you're training to the point where you're actually hitting fatigue, where your last 2 or 3 reps are a struggle so that your muscles have to adapt, that's what we're looking for. You can go to your Zumba class. That's fine. Go to your spin class. That's fine. Work to the point though where you're actually tired and it's actually making a significant impact to benefit your health. You can also have that significant impact be enjoyment. Maybe you just like that and you want the social aspect, but finding consistency in a routine that you're actually going to stick to is the hardest part for people. And that takes some self-discovery where you're going to have to try different things and be okay with failing at them.
A group fitness is terrifying. Like for me,
a lot of guys are terrified of group fitness.
You
is that a guy? I was going to say,
it is.
A guy thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
60% female dominated.
Okay.
It might even be higher than that now. I do find that my yoga and core classes have more males than most of my other programming that I teach. At F45, we have a good amount of dudes, especially 5 a.m. is like the dudes class. It's wild.
What is 5 a.m.?
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard of the PM.
It's 5 a.m.
You were working out with, or you were running a class this morning.
Yeah.
With my wife. She has to get up before work, and I can't imagine being up that early, and then engaging in like what you're saying, a massive physical effort. My massive physical effort is getting out of bed.
So I think you should try it.
I came once.
So here's the thing. My husband, I've worked at F45 before it opened. It took me until last fall to get him to come. And he has consistently jumped in, and he's a 5 a.m.
And he's still going?
He goes before work. So it's done for the day. He feels so good throughout the day. And he's consistent every, like Monday to Friday, every morning.
And he's just on the ski erg, like doing the like,
oh yeah.
Like how do you...
I'll show you. You got to show up though. So it's honestly like, once you start moving your body, you start to notice when you haven't. Have you felt that way when you, like during this time where you're preparing for the combine? Like, have you been consistent enough with your training where you have missed it?
Actually, over the last couple of weeks, I've been really consistent, and even yesterday, like I rode the bike yesterday night.
While we played Halo.
I was riding.
It just sounded like he was like really into it. We're like matchmaking. He's like,
I had to keep muting my mic because I was out of breath. I was trying to talk to you guys. I was like, and I was like, this is not good audio for anybody. But
you're just getting killed a lot. And you're like, oh, you doing a hill climb?
Yeah, that was my excuse. But I missed last night, like having a proper workout.
Yeah, where
I've been consistent, and that's kind of where I felt disappointed in myself a little bit, that I was like, I had the best of intentions. And actually, I want to ask you this question because you were talking about going at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And I am a late night workout. Like, that's why I love Goodlife, because it's 24 hours.
So.
And Alicia told me, because I was like, I'm going to work out. I got to get all jacked. I got to get it in. And so I go after the kids are in bed and everything.
Yeah.
And Alicia's in bed. So I'm going at like 10 o'clock sometimes.
When do you get up in the morning? How long is your sleep?
Yesterday I woke up at 10 a.m.
Oh, wow. What's 10 a.m.?
Yeah. So I do. I do get this.
You've had your whole day before then.
Yeah. Most people have. Most people are like at work, and I'm like just rolling it. But
so as long as you're going, that's step one. Right?
But
like
you're worried about the recovery. You're like, if you're going at 10, are you getting enough sleep?
Because recovery is so important in prioritizing your sleep. Like, it's magic for your muscles and repairing them. So if you're not getting adequate sleep and recovery time in between, it's really actually acting as an inhibitor to the work that you're doing within the gym. So I'm a morning workout person if I can. And that's usually like around 9 a.m. I get my workout in, noon. And then my child has been working out recently, and he likes to go at 4:30. And because I'm such a good mom, I'm sacrificing myself and going with him to help him through it and make sure he's moving properly and everything. But ideally, I don't like to train at night because I find for me on a personal level, it messes with my sleep. They pay me to work out at night. And primarily like 3 nights out of the week, I finish off with a yoga. So then it makes my sleep good. But like last night, for instance, I taught a 30-minute HIIT class and a 30-minute core class. It's high intensity. Like it's a lot in that hour. And I have to take 2 to 3 hours to wind down after it before I can go to bed because I'm just too up here and I've got to take it down. But that's just me. So you have to find what works for you. I'm a morning workout person. I get paid to work out at night. It's as close to a pro athlete as I'm ever going to get, folks.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I think I'm with you. Like if I have to work out in the evening, it's because I'm like trying to get it done.
Yeah.
When it's happened very few times, I get a solid workout before I start my day. It's almost always a better day.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I agree with that.
There's no question. But what you were saying about missing a workout, like how you feel once you start getting a rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, we've been doing this running thing, and I am a non-runner. I have run before,
Feel that.
but my right leg has been giving me a lot of trouble. So yesterday was a run day, and I was like, oh, I need to do like isometrics. I need to like train down and do some strengthening. But then after the fact, I didn't feel like I'd done enough. Like I had that like gap. I was like, I feel like I didn't exercise today.
How are you running? Like, are you doing steady state runs? Are you doing intervals? How are you running? How are you training for your running?
So Google. Yeah.
Okay.
Point A to
Okay.
B.
Okay.
I'm a big boy. I got to run 20K. How do I do it? And it spit out like my schedule, you know, have so many K a week that I need to accomplish. One of my runs is like a cold start, get out, do it. Not worried about distance.
Gross.
Another one is intervals where I try to run like at my preferred pace.
Okay.
And then on the weekend is just one distance run.
Okay.
And then week after week, it gets progressively bigger up until the point where I can apparently run 20K, says the internet.
There you go.
Yeah.
The internet, trust it.
What do you think? Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it really depends how you're feeling with your training and then adjusting it from there, which the internet can't do for you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the hard part is you have to be able to do that for yourself, and adjusting your runs. So how are you finding your runs? Obviously, you mentioned it's in some pain.
Well,
is there any stretching happening?
I stretch. I'm learning. I stretch.
Lie to me like everyone does.
Okay, I'll tell you. So I'll get in from a run and I'll be like, Megan, I need you. And we'll do like PNF stretch.
That was very like Rocky Adrian.
I'm like,
Yeah,
I have like
yeah.
boogers and blood. I fell. Like, I'm like, Adrian. That's exactly how I come in from a run. And my one leg that doesn't feel good, I'll get Megan to do like, she'll you know, kind of like Donovan Bailey style. She'll back it up. I'll push against her. And then,
Okay.
So I stretch mostly, but I kind of chalk up, and I don't know. When I was running before, I was 220 pounds.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think my capacity to move that way has grown exponentially like my weight has. So when I go out at 250 or 260 previously and run, like it feels brutal. My body's trying to do what it was doing 45 pounds ago. But like you asked how it's going slow.
That's okay.
I am moving slow.
Like the pace at which you run does not dictate whether or not you're a runner.
It's just in your head though, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. So I, for a very long time, thought I could not run because I had a blown knee. You know,
That's
and I
a
was
very
like,
serious injury.
And and so running for me hurt. It always hurt. And I was like, I literally cannot run. I hate running. I would do it anyway, but it was terrible. And so even into adulthood, after my knee was repaired and good to go, like, here, you got this new knee, use it. I'm like, no, I can't run. And it was just a mental block for me. So last year I was like, maybe I'll sign up for a half marathon. just on a whim to try and prove to myself that maybe you can run. And the reason you cannot is because you haven't tried, right? That old thing. So it was like, I'm actually going to train to run. And I gave myself like a good long time to do it. And I did a half marathon, which is really awesome. Kudos to me.
Yeah, congrats.
And I did it, in a decent amount of time, like around the 2-hour mark, which is pretty good for your first. And I mean, around kilometer 17, I was kind of praying to be hit by a truck, but that's another story for a different day. Running is something where you don't have to compare it to anybody but yourself. And it's an individual sport. The thing that people get caught up in is that, there's all these great finisher times and there are people who are pro runners and those are often the stats that you see. Whereas just getting up and going for a run, you are so far above the population right now because so many people don't move their body. So be proud of yourself no matter how slow it is. It does not matter. You are doing
proud,
better
buddy.
than
Yeah,
so many
All right.
people.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, you should be
Stop.
proud of yourself. He's blushing.
Don't
run.
blush. You're cute enough as it is without that.
Stop.
But if we could go back, so Drew was
Yeah.
looking up online how to run.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm a big online guy.
big
Okay.
on-
Web
we're
MD.
eternally online. But it feels like we're always on Reels, Instagram Reels. It feels like there's this cottage industry of. Well, I'll just say it, it's like fucking bullshit, and it's like the people just
Yeah.
saying some of the craziest things for likes and
Unhinged.
engagement,
Yeah.
and then it also feels like there's some people like God bless them, but they're trying to fight back, but it's like trying to mop up the ocean with your janitor's mop, right? Like,
Your bucket just has a hole in it. You can't. It's
do you find that a challenge? Like you got people coming in, they're like, "Hey, I saw this online." You're like, "Oh my God, leave that at the door."
I don't often have people come in with and say that per se, but people do listen to lots of stuff online and they see things. I think the hardest thing is people don't approach me with what they've heard. It's what they see with their eyes on their own because they make comparisons or decide that I'm going to follow this program because it worked for this person when they completely forget about genetics and that social media is a 2-dimensional space where everyone's posting their highlight reel, right? Like you've got these wonderful people who I'm not discounting anyone's credentials or efforts in what they do for themselves. But if your genetic makeup predispositions you to looking cut all the time, no one knows that. They're just seeing this post you've put out with these 5 ab exercises that you've deemed as the best to get a 6-pack. And so someone who maybe isn't predispositioned to have that same physique naturally isn't going to get those results. And that's what's really hard to click in people's brains is that they do not understand that your genetic makeup is not the same. Right? Like sitting next to each other right now, you are naturally different than you are. And that's okay. Different exercises are going to work your body in different ways. Whereas like you might pick up weights and put on muscle really fast. You might pick up those same weights and struggle to put on the same amount of muscle. You might eat the same meal and one of you might put on more fat. It's just your genetic makeup and getting people to be okay with understanding that. That's where the fallout is because that's not what people post about. Right? Because that's not interesting and that doesn't get likes.
They want to have the solution.
Yeah. Everyone wants a quick fix or a magic pill or some sort of supplement to make their
Ozempic.
life easier.
Just wait.
And
Have you seen? Sorry to interrupt.
no, it's okay.
Have you seen the oat Zempic?
I'm
And
on it
this
right
is-
now.
I wanted to bring
know
this.
an
What?
oat Zempic.
Okay, so it's this
No.
thing, and it's
I do the oat Zempic enema actually
okay.
in the morning.
What they do is they're making like this. They're soaking oats in water, and they're mixing it with lime juice, and they're basically using it as a meal replacement. But they're saying like,
Stop it.
And the person that I saw post about this, they're like, you can lose 20 pounds in a month with oat Zempic.
well, remember the cabbage soup diet?
Well, and
I mean,
and I
it's
was like,
it's just another one of those.
It's just a fad.
and you're. I mean, yeah. If all you're eating is oats and lime juice, you're obviously going to be in a huge caloric deficit.
Oh my gosh.
It's not. But I was like, you're just making shitty oats. Like that's all that is.
I mean, yeah, it's just asking for people to have eating disorders and body dysmorphia, right? So,
And do you
which
think
is-
that's kind of where I was leading to? Is do you think
Yeah.
a lot of this social media is actually fueling disordered eating.
Oh,
and-
100%.
Okay.
I mean, part of the reason I got to where I was is because, and it was before all of social media, but like growing up, I was bulimic. I mean, I'm not anymore, but like it's definitely a struggle. And you've got these young girls who see all these things. And for me, it was, I saw Cosmopolitan magazine and Teen People and all this stuff that you see, and it's just fed down your throat. And, you know, bless her heart, it's not her fault, but my mother, you know, our mothers at the as same token, like those things were pushed on them through magazines and everything. And tell me your mom didn't drink Slim Fast.
Oh yeah.
You know, like tell me you didn't see those things growing up. And like that was given to me, and I was put on the Atkins diet and, you know, all these things to try and make sure that you're in the best shape possible, because God forbid you not fit into this size pant, which I'm sorry, women's clothing designers are never the same. A size 10 in one design is completely different size than another size 10 just to mess with us. It's wild. So, I mean,
You know all about women's pants.
Hell yeah. I
oh my gosh, I can't even count the number of dressing rooms I've cried in.
Oh no.
do. Me either.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
But, you know, it's just like between different fad diets that come out, the next best thing that you should be doing, and how every year it's some new trend that you need to try. It's wild that more people aren't open about the eating disorders that they have, because I'm pretty sure everyone at some point in their life has had one.
And engaging in that like rampant consumerism, you're talking about, you know, our parents, our moms doing Slim Fast, Jenny Craig. We used to go to Dex's house, and
My mom would get so mad. We'd eat all the lean cuisines.
we get
got
drunk.
But like a lean cuisine is like 400 calories.
Oh, yeah.
I needed like 3 lasagnas to get through the
She'd be
night.
so mad. She'd be like, "Where's my fucking lean cuisine?"
I remember the one time I was like heating some up, and you were like, "No, that's enough. My mom's gonna yell at me." And you had to like refreeze the like already cooked.
yeah.
Sorry, Anne. We used to fuck up your lean cuisine. Yeah,
No.
Yeah.
but yeah, my mom was the same,
Yeah.
and still to this day actually. And I think it's, you know, because of that generation, and not to say this generation is not suffering, just in a different way, but so much of that here today, gone tomorrow, like they were on South Beach, they were on Atkins, and
Yeah.
now they're on keto, and they're all buzzwords. And I
Oh, yeah.
remember in school, we did a project where we looked at 10 fad diets, and we just mapped the nutrition. And across the board, regardless of what their makeup was, at the end of the day, it was energy values.
Yeah.
Every single one was restrictive.
Well, that's what your food is, right? Like
Yeah.
it's fuel. That's all it is fuel. It just depends what the source of the fuel is and the quality of it. How and when you eat it also matters. Like, don't eat right before you go to bed. You shouldn't eat it.
Is that a
12 o'clock.
thing? Is that
It
a real
is.
thing? I had like 1, 2, like maybe 3 pieces of cheesecake like late the other
3
night.
pieces of cheesecake. Yeah, that's
Costco
gonna
slab
negatively impact you. And the reason why is
What?
your body is spending its time digesting rather than recovering your muscles.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I'm
I know.
terrible at this.
Well, I mean,
That's why we got a guest on to tell us all this stuff that we didn't know.
Oh my!
Like you shouldn't eat cheesecake before bed.
We're just sitting there.
well, I mean, like
Auntie Becky made it. It's great
the
cheesecake.
odd cheesecake here and there is not going to kill you.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, maybe 3 every night
I'm a-
right before you slumber isn't the best idea, but I'm not a doctor.
I'm a late night snacker. That's my thing.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I've been trying to cut out.
Yeah.
And we talked about like, well, and I guess we can kind of get into this subject, but when we first made this combine or this goal, we set weight metrics. Like that was our metric.
Oh, yeah.
And that was maybe a little misguided, and I want to get into that. But for me, like this whole time I've been working out, but I gained weight. And it's been really hard. I finally, big announcement, I finally lost a pound. I'm net down 1 pound.
Here's the thing. Do you know what your composition was when you took your initial weight?
I don't.
Okay.
Composition.
So, well, because you're made up of things. Did you know this? It's so cool.
I was gonna say something
so-
mean to Dax.
Your-
that was a lead in.
Your body fat percentage versus your skeletal muscle mass, right? So even though you have shifted around what your weight is, you might have traded fat for muscle, which is what you want to do ultimately.
Right. And so do you think that too many people focus on the scale.
100%.
Yeah. And is
People
it a
get
bad
obsessive.
metric?
I don't own a scale.
Okay.
I do not own a scale. And that's just straight up for me. Like as someone who's recovered from eating disorders, I was at a point where I would weigh myself after every meal. Like it was absolutely neurotic, like just struggled with the scale too much. Because do you want to know how easy it is to gain like 1.5 kilograms? Go drink a 1.5 kilogram bottle of water.
Yeah.
Right? Like just because you've also lost weight, the same idea. Was it fat? Was it liquid? Did you go to the bathroom? Like it's just one of those things where knowing what you are made of and what your composition is can be a game changer in terms of shifting around, because the more muscle mass you have as you age, obviously, the better off you are. The more fat you have, the more of a struggle things can be. So you want to make sure that, of course, you have proper body fat, and women especially should have more than men. Our bodies do very different things, like create people. So like you got to have some body fat on you.
I'll have you know, I was involved very briefly in the making of 2 people.
I'm so happy for you. Yay.
Yeah.
DNA.
Yeah, you did it, buddy.
Yeah.
The scale thing, like, so my wife is the epitome of that.
Yeah.
Because she is dedicated and she's been doing F45. Yeah. I can't remember when this all came about, but it was a long time ago. And she's gone consistently.
Yeah.
Even through pregnancy. Obviously, she had a couple months off, but she was working out while she was pregnant. And then as soon as she could, once we had our youngest, she's back at it. But she will get on the scale and she will be defeatist. She will say like, oh man, the stupid, the needle's not moving. And I will say to her, I was like, you look great. And you could probably kick my ass. And I think that those are...
Alicia and I had this same conversation yesterday. She's like, I haven't lost any weight, but she's been working out hard. And I was like, who cares? You look hot as fuck. Like, like you can see it.
So something to look at instead of numbers on a scale, how your clothes fit. Take pictures. It makes a difference comparing those instead if you're into comparison.
So self-conscious, so cringy. I don't want to take like a self...
Well, you don't have to post them or share them with people. I mean, some people do that, but like, it's also important to know that like the coaches online on Instagram, if they're posting a picture of someone as a before and after, and they've ran like a challenge or something, that is their top performer. That is the person who has performed the best throughout this challenge. They are showing you literally the person who's probably genetics responded the best to those exercises and actually followed through with the protocols of the nutrition and committed to the plan, right? So don't look at pictures of people online. Look at your pictures, post them, don't post them, but it's helpful, and you can do it like once a month. Don't be obsessive about it because it's not going to help you mentally. I like to, instead of look at, and this is just for me, instead of looking at numbers or even pictures, how I move. How I'm moving and how I feel while I'm moving, my rate of perceived exertion. And it fluctuates and it changes. And I now, just in this last 2 years of my life, have learned about how I move around my cycle and how that changes it, because it's totally different for women, right? Like, not only are we trying to lose weight, get in shape, but we're also fighting our hormones, which constantly fluctuate, right? So you have to give yourself so much grace and stop putting so much pressure on yourself to be a certain number. Is that number actually going to matter when you get there? I can tell you it won't. I thought there was a specific number where I would just be like, oh girl, you made it. You feel so good. And I didn't. It still didn't fucking matter. And I didn't feel good.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's profound. I love that.
I really wish people just to find peace with their bodies and the cards you're dealt, because life is too goddamn short to be so mean to yourself all the time and to put so much pressure on you. Like, you gotta just let yourself live. It's also too short to not eat foods that you enjoy, right? Why are you avoiding that? What is the end game here? Why?
And if you're struggling to do that, the missing piece, this is the community. This is what you're saying about the team workout aspect. Yeah,
having a support system of people around you to help you, continue onward and to pump you up and make you feel good about yourself, it helps because you can get in such a dark space where it's like you feel defeated and somebody else might notice that, hey man, you upped your weights today and that's freaking awesome. Whereas you're just thinking about, oh, I'm 2 pounds heavier than I was last week. Who gives a shit? I didn't notice, you know what I mean though? Like I didn't notice you gained 2 pounds. Only you know that information. And at the root of it, how much you weigh is just the gravitational force against the earth. So who really cares? You know?
Well, like you said, it could come from muscle mass. They could be looking at that number thinking,
yeah,
I've put on weight, but it's like,
yeah,
you're looking better. Or you're like you said, your clothes are fitting better.
You're feeling better.
Yeah.
You're feeling
how
better.
do you feel? And that's what I ask people all the time is, how do you feel when somebody shows me their body scan and I can see, they're just holding it. Before I've even seen the numbers or asked them what they are, I say, how do you feel right now? Because I want to know like where your head's at. How do you feel about yourself? And then we look at it and it's like, actually, you should feel really freaking good right now because like these numbers are great.
Body scan.
So that shows you your composition breakdown.
Like percentages?
Yeah, it's really cool. We have one at
I'm
F45.
4% body fat.
I mean, I don't know you, and I don't want to be.
Play the jingle, the fact check jingle.
I have access to a body scan machine.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
Say your body fat percentage again.
Well, 4%. Yeah. Okay, fuck you. I don't know, 19%. I actually don't know anything about it.
I have actually, my scale upstairs does body fat.
In school, you have calipers get like little pinches, and they'd be like, "We need a larger caliper." I was like, I haven't ended my journey. It's been a long journey, but yeah, like I've been big in my career for sure. And definitely in school, you get that like freshman 15, you go down, you experience, we talked about diet. You just have so much in front of you.
Yeah.
It's really easy to lose your way. Yeah.
Oh man, we have access to more food than we've ever had as a species, right? Like think about where we started, caveman, like you had to hunt your food. You had to find it. And that's why like intermittent fasting actually works really well for people because you didn't have access to food. So your body knows how to store it. And that's why it does that, right? Like it doesn't know when your next meal is coming. So if you teach your body that your meals are very close together, it's going to expect it. And so that's why your calls for hunger become so much more frequent. So like it's wild. We are now in an age where people are the laziest we've ever been.
Fact.
We're the laziest we've ever been because everything has been made so readily accessible to us and it's so easy, right? Like you can get in your car and you can drive wherever you want. There was a time you walked everywhere. We don't do that anymore. And as we've aged, you've graduated to more adult jobs where you're sitting more and you're walking less. And those are just things that have naturally happened. So you have to make intentional efforts to stop that or to increase everyday movement, your RDL, like your everyday life activity. So it's just making those conscious efforts and connections to help better your whole health. It's not just 1 hour in the gym. It's not just 1 hour in the gym. You can't go in and work out for 1 hour, expect everything to fall into place. It helps. It gets you on the right start and it gets you into routine, but it's the other 23 out of the day that matter. Are you sleeping enough? Are you fueling your body properly? And are you also taking those extra steps, or are you calling your kid to go get that remote for you? Like it's those things. And it's a reality check for people where I can easily get my kid to do that, or I could just go do it myself and teach them that they should move too. It's tough because everything's been made really easy. It's actually harder to be human.
Are you having a reflective moment now too?
A little bit.
Yeah.
When you were saying you can get in your car and drive, like I drive to Goodlife and it's like, it's a very short walk away.
Oh God. Yeah.
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 Like I could get extra steps in. That could be my warm up.
Yeah.
But I drive.
And 10,000 steps. 10,000 is just a random number that the pedometer makers like put because people were like, how many steps should we get? And so they're like, let's make it 10,000. It's not actually like a scientific number that we decided and collectively went after numerous studies, like humans should get 10,000 steps a day. It was the pedometer makers that were like, let's make it 10,000 steps. And that's a great number. So if you're getting 8 That's fine. It's just you need to try and increase your step count and track your steps if you can, and try to take the number that you're currently getting and increase it by 1,000. Then after 2 weeks, try to increase it by 1,000 more. My average daily steps, and it's because I'm lucky. Okay. I've chosen a career where it makes me move. So I get a lot more steps than a lot of people. And people sometimes are like, how do you get so many? Because it's my job. It's literally my job to move. So before 10 a.m., I'm usually at 10,000 steps. Oof. My average steps per day is 15 to 20,000. That's usually the window I'm in on a weekend. It's probably less than that unless I've decided I'm going to run today. Which is not very often. It's like once or twice a month, I'm going to go for a good run. And I hate it the whole time. I hate it.
But you are doing the like Stars Ambulance 10K thing.
I'm running the 10K at the Calgary half, the one that you'll be at. And then I'm also in the Bun Run with Tiff for Millerville, June 15th. So I don't know why I keep running. I don't like it.
Sounds like you love running.
I just like movement.
Yeah. The step thing, like I remember an era before pedometers. Like,
Yeah.
I know they existed.
Yeah.
But that was the thing that like came around. It's like you have to count your steps, and it's an arbitrary number. It is interesting to hear you talk about other ways to look at your day and measure success. Because here we are saying like, oh, I did my workout, I'm good. So get a Fitbit, get a pedometer. Do you have any other, like, we'll call them life hacks? Like, what?
Oh, man.
Yeah. Like, what are some tips? Hey, you are starting your fitness journey and you're not that healthy, but there are small things, accessible things you can do right now that's going to lead you to a place where you're seeing results or at least feeling better.
If you're just starting out, pick one thing. Pick one thing, because there's a million. Pick one thing and let it be your focus. Get successful at that one thing, then add another. Don't do everything all at once because you're setting yourself up to fail. It's overwhelming, the amount of things that are fed to us. And here's this task list of all the things you need to do to be good at this, right? No one masters a single skill in one sitting. And if you do, fuck you.
Yeah.
Right. But it's one of those things where like, if you don't go to the gym and you're trying to get in shape, then your goal should be just to step foot in the gym.
Yeah. Go to the sauna.
Yeah,
it's busted. Oh, okay. I'll use the toilet.
If you go to the gym currently and you only go to the sauna and go to the toilet, your next step is to then visit the weight area and pick up some weights. Okay. So start moving your body. Once you've gotten that down, you're going to move weights, but then outside the gym, those 23 hours are now your focus. Maybe you're going to pick food. You're going to start to clean up your diet, and don't get hung up on everything needs to be perfect. It's exhausting. You do not need to measure every single meal you have down to the gram. That's wild. Are you training for a fitness competition, or are you just trying to get healthy? What are you trying to do right now? Because don't destroy yourself with an overwhelming amount of things that you need to tackle. Just look at your food, eat what you should, prioritize your protein, have some carbs, not all carbs are evil, and have some fruit and veg with your meal. Don't sit down and try and eat a thing that's just all processed, because we know that's not good, right? Like, it's okay if it happens. Your focus should be on the next meal. How can I do better than I just did? It's not like you had breakfast and it was completely off the rails, so now your entire day is shot. If you blow a tire, do you go slash the other three?
I'm a bit of a self
right?
saboteur.
Like, yeah, and that happens, right? Like where people are like, "Well, today is a wash. I'm just gonna go fuck myself."
Yeah.
You just destroy yourself, and then decide, okay, well, yesterday was terrible. I feel really guilty for what happened. I guess the whole weekend is out the window.
You punish
I'll
yourself.
start again on Monday. Don't do that. Look at it with eyes of, it's okay that I did that. How do I feel right now? Do I feel like garbage? Do I want to keep feeling like garbage? No. Okay. So my next meal is going to be a priority. I'm going to get my head back in the space where I need to be, where I want to go. It can't be something where you've decided, oh, I want to be really healthy, and then not actually do any of the things to be healthy. When someone comes to me and they're like, oh, nothing is changing, my question is always, how is your food? Because I see you for 1 hour and I know you're working. So how are the other 23? Are you sleeping? Are you prioritizing your recovery? What are you doing outside of here? Because I only see you when you're right here. Is there something else going on? How can I help you? Yeah.
I'm very much like you said, the self-saboteur.
Oh my goodness.
You have a bad weekend and you're like, well,
I'm
but
blowing the doors off.
the funny thing is in your mind, logically, you know that putting on this weight took 8 years.
Yeah.
Since I got married when I was probably my lightest since high school.
Yeah.
Right. So it took me 8 years to get to this point.
Yeah.
Like one day, one meal is not going to, like, it's not going to add a ton of weight.
No.
It took 100 meals, 300 meals, 600 meals to get to this point. Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, logically, you know that, but it's like you want to defeat yourself almost.
Well, and it's also asking your body what to do with those meals, right? Like, because it's not just like eating too much, it's also not moving enough and letting all those things compound over time. So slowly shifting and moving your body more, switching up maybe how you're fueling, those things slowly, right? Like you can't do it all fast because it won't last. Like it just won't. I can tell you confidently, I have tried every fad diet there is, every quick fix. I was addicted to diet pills at one point. Like there's a lot of things. And now I am happy and I feel good because I stopped trying to do things that worked for other people and just started listening to my body and tuning in with, hey, does that actually make me feel good? And do I want to do that? No. So why am I doing it? What is wrong with you? Oh, because it worked for so-and-so. Who cares? I'm not them. And you have to get over like the mentality of this works because so-and-so said so.
Yeah.
You have to treat yourself a bit of like a science experiment where you're okay to like try different things because again, your genetic makeup is very different and I could coach you and show you the things to do, but it takes trial and error to adjust a program to figure out like what things are actually going to work and how are you going to respond. So that's all trainers do is we're just experimenting. We're just figuring out where you are. But the basis of how things work is like we give you a program. And if you're consistent and you follow it, changes will happen. I'm just like any coach, not a miracle worker. It's not me that makes those changes. It's you. And you have to be consistent. You have to show up for yourself and you have to put in the work. And it has to be the 24 hours, not the one. Yeah.
Those are all really good, fantastic pointers.
Yeah.
I'm ready to start.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like I did start.
Are you doing it 24? No. Like as Kelsey's talking,
But
I'm
that's
like,
okay
that's me. I do the one thing and I'm like, okay, permission granted.
But
Let's have
you
10
did
Coronas.
start, right? Because we already talked about like
The one thing.
It's one thing. And so you're on it. It's that one thing builds. So it might be like in 10 years like me, where you're in a pretty good spot where like, I still eat crap. Are you kidding? I had a whole bunch of dinosaurs last night and they were delicious.
Oh, I can house
And
a
I
bag
have
of dinosaurs.
no regrets. Yeah.
Do you think that dinosaurs are different flavors?
They are different flavors.
They are different flavors.
Like
They
a
are.
green is different from a yellow?
Green
Yeah.
is lime and yellow is lemon and red is cherry and orange is orange.
Okay.
It's Skittles that are all the same flavors. That's my conspiracy.
Yeah, it was just a quick throwback. That was just a
Yeah,
little. That was a
okay.
little like for the listeners, for the long timers here. We just had to get your opinion
Okay.
on that. Okay, I agree.
Yeah.
We're in agreement.
Dinosaurs? Okay. Now this fitness
Why not? Yeah.
podcast has
It's
turned
okay.
into a
Dinosaur
chat.
podcast.
Dinosaurs
This is
are,
self-love.
are such a good candy. They do zero mark. Have you ever seen a Dinosaurs commercial?
No, never.
Do you go and see Dinosaurs? Like, do they pay for primo spots at Circle K? No, you get them in bulk at Bulk Barn, and they do all the
Or
marketing themselves.
You order them on Amazon for $11.
You shouldn't have
for
told me
a
that.
giant 1.5 kilogram bag.
You shouldn't have told me that.
I'll send you a link.
No,
You put them in your freezer
I need
too.
like the Men in
Did you know
Black to
that?
come in and erase my memory of the last.
You
10
put
seconds.
them in your freezer, and they're so
They would
good.
never make it to my
They're
freezer.
so good in the freezer. There you go.
You try putting it in and you just yeah.
I bury them in the bottom, hide them for my children.
Children, you know,
Yeah.
those kids. I definitely I think about my children's nutrition more than I think about my own.
Yeah.
And that's probably a bad thing. But when I see my daughters, you know, my oldest especially is candy obsessed in that era, and
Yeah.
and I'm maybe not the best at mitigating that because I love her so much. I'm like, oh, you can have dinosaurs for breakfast. I love you. You know, Kool-Aid instead of milk. You'll love that. Yeah, I want to make you happy.
Kool-Aid's mostly water.
Yeah. But I do think about and in tandem with my own upbringing, like it is super important to instill those values, not only the values of nutrition, but the values of, like you're saying, physical fitness, and maybe these things you're going to do in a day. Hey, no, you do have to walk to your friends.
Yeah.
You know, like, is that something that you are constantly doing with your children?
I've tried really hard to make sure that we're not creating any sort of fixation around food, because that's something I personally struggled with, right? So if they're hungry, they eat. If they're done, they're done. There's no like sit and
you don't
finish your
have
plate.
to. Oh, you have to finish
Nope.
one more bite, one more big bite.
That's
Nope.
one thing that I
will never.
when Kennedy's like, I'm done eating, I'm like, eat your cucumbers or whatever. Like, please just finish your cucumbers.
No.
But I'm not going to make you eat all of the pasta that we gave you.
No.
I used to get that as a kid. And I think it's a
yeah.
leftover thing,
yeah.
like a Depression era thing where food was scarce.
There are kids starving.
There are kids
Eat your
starving.
shit.
It's
Yeah.
expensive. We don't, maybe dad's been out of a job for 10 months during the Great Depression, and it's passed on through generations.
Oh, I'm so guilty of
Yeah.
this.
And
I
I
need to
had
stop
that
doing
as
this.
a kid,
Yeah.
where it was like, finish your plate.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? Why do they need to finish the whole
Yeah.
plate? if
Because
they're
yogurt
not
drinks are
hungry?
expensive, and I had to buy 48 this week.
Yeah. Because of that, like I think that actually impacted me in such a negative way into adulthood, where I struggled with food, right? Because of that, you have to eat it all. So I would like buy something and then be like, oh, that costs money, I have to eat it. And then I'm overeating even though I'm not actually hungry. Why are you doing that? You can save things for later. It's wild. Like you can put it in the fridge, you can save it for later, and it's okay. Now, the only exception to this is if I've seen my kid not eat anything and I know they're hungry and they just like, I need you to eat something before we're leaving, then I've given you a meal and I need you to eat like at least a quarter of it. Like eat something.
You gotta be mindful of your blood sugars. I don't want you to blow a gasket.
But I'm not the parent that's like, you have to finish your food or you're not leaving the table. I remember that happening as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Many a time, right? Like it happened to all of us because it was pretty normal, but it's definitely something I try not to do. And I think that's been helpful. I don't lock my pantry. There's not things that they can't have. If they want it, they just ask. 9 times out of 10, the answer is going to be yes. Yeah. And I've tried hard to not to like be like, this is a good food or this is a bad food. Food is food. I don't want you to have any sort of negativity around it because it's fuel at the root of it. And if you're hungry, you should eat. I have mentioned prioritizing protein, especially as my like older one is now like getting into fitness and he's working through football and we're trying to put on muscle. I'm like, okay, so like make sure you're doing XYZ. And it's been well received where it's not like we're getting some sort of fixation around this. Am I getting enough protein or anything like that? It's just normal to eat that way because we've always kind of eaten with a heavy protein focus as a family, especially because I'm celiac and I like to eat with them. So we don't have like a lot of cinnamon rolls and pancakes or even pasta. Like it's more chickpea pasta and stuff if they have those things so that I can have it too.
So it sounds like you're mindful, but because you've created an environment now where there is that flexibility,
Yeah.
and you've taken the emphasis off food. But I'm listening to this and I'm like, we need to change some shit around because we are still.
Well, and if they're still like, hey, can we have taco time tonight? I'm like, ask your dad. And if it's something where he's like, yeah, no big deal, then they go have taco time. But like, they'll still eat out. They'll still do stuff. And like, if I can eat out as well, I'll eat out with them. But 9 times out of 10, like, I don't trust that things are safe. And so I just don't do it. It's not because I don't want it. I'm just nervous that I'm going to have like some sort of flare up for myself. Yeah.
I'm like, finish it. I bought this, finish it. But that is how we grew up. And what I do is, and that's not from a wasting food standpoint, but the amount of times where I will be satisfied. I've ingested enough food that now the signals in my body are being like, they're sent out, you are full, you don't need to. But it's something I like covet.
Yeah.
Like it's like really good food. Like I did like last night, we made these fucking burgers. I had a single one and was full. But in my head, I'm like, but they were good and I like them. And so because I get so much enjoyment out of eating, I will just engage in that activity, engage in eating when my body's like, no, you're good. I'm like, no, it was really tasty.
I resonate with that. Like I now have been able to shift around to a place where it's like, okay, it was really good, and it's also going to be really good tomorrow. So you can save it for yourself, and you can put it in the fridge, and nobody's going to touch it. I think partly because I'm the second oldest of 8 kids, and so it's like if
8 kids,
yeah,
Big fan.
yeah,
wow,
it's blended family. We're not Mormon. Winters were just really cold. Okay, no, blended
not a lot
family.
to do in Montana.
And like if my mom made cookies, it was like, you go get one and you get it now, or you're not
gonna
getting
get one. Oh yeah,
right. Like so, even the finish your plate mentality. It was like, if you don't eat this right now, it's going to be gone, and you're not going to get any. And so now I've had to be like, okay, it's you and the like you're in a family of 4, and they know this is yours, and my family is so loving and respectful of any food that is mine, because oftentimes it's something that is like food safe for me. And so it's in the fridge, and I'm like, you don't need to fight for food. Yeah. Why are you doing that? You don't need to fight for food. It's there. It's become easier to access than ever before. You know that thing is good and that you like it. Eat it later when you are hungry. Yeah. It's a hard cycle to break. It's very cyclical, and you get into a place too where it's like, oh, I did it, I'll just do it again. It's hard, but if you just keep trying to make your next meal a priority, it'll happen.
And I'm very cognizant right now of it's easy to not think about it, but thinking about my children and what their relationship with food is going to be down the road. You know, like I have a lot of influence right now, and maybe I'm not thinking about it in the right way. Because I can look back and be like, yeah, that wasn't good. I shouldn't have done that. And I'm paying for it now. But I don't want that for my kids. Like I would love if they're well-adjusted adults that have a healthy relationship with food. Not to say there's anything wrong with having those struggles, but I certainly don't want to propagate them. No. I don't think about it enough.
I think the other side of that too is people have to also make mistakes sometimes. Yeah. Like you have to learn. And how many times have your parents told you like, this is the way it should be? Like, I'm sure my mom told me you probably shouldn't be drinking at 16 and throwing parties in the house when I'm not home.
She maybe said that.
And but I was like, you know, I had to figure out that like that was not the best life choice, right? But yeah, I think can you put them down the path, and they will deviate from the path.
100%.
But have you set them down the path that they can find their way back? For me, that's what I think about it all the time with Kennedy. And I'm very cognizant, like she plays soccer, and I love soccer. I've played high-level soccer. Don't know if you heard.
You fucking guy. I'm going to hear about this later.
32.
We're going to have a debrief. Be like, can you really fucking put me on the spot there, man?
But you know, she loves soccer, but I'm like, okay, am I pushing this on her because I also love it? And I'm very cognizant when registration comes up. Do you actually want to play? Is there something else you want to try?
Yeah.
But I want her to do physical activity, because if she finds some type of movement that she likes, I mean, again, to go back to soccer, I hated it when I was done because of one coach. One thing pushed me off of that. So I don't want to be that person. I want her to enjoy whatever she wants to do.
Right? I did a kinesiology degree, but not the science. I'm like one of the very few people who has a kinesiology arts degree.
Wild.
So I did sociology of sport.
Like interpretive dance?
Essentially. But it'd be more like, you know, like a child's relationship, a person's relationship with sport and activity. And one thing we talked about at length was development of long-term participants, and especially in youth sport. You know, in a community like Okotoks, you have kids who are playing rep hockey, 2A, 3A club hockey. You have football, baseball, these huge team dynamics, these really competitive sports that have, you know, multiple seasons throughout the year. And they're all based around, like I said, large numbers of people, and they're great at the time. And there's so much you can say that's positive about these big team sports. But in terms of long-term athlete participation, we kind of prop our kids up to get out of high school and have no avenue to stay healthy. They haven't engaged in enough individual pursuits to have the specific movements and confidence to go and do that on their own outside of school, or they just don't know enough about what's available. And so when I think of my kids, like you're saying, you want to show them the path. Like I want to make sure whatever they're participating in now
Yeah.
those doors are going to be open when they're older, because it becomes so fucking hard to stay active
Yeah.
once you get busy. Once you have your own kids, once you have a job, once you're doing this stuff, you want to talk about excuses to kind of put it off and not engage in it. Life gets in the way of this stuff big time.
And I've tried to participate in soccer as an adult, and I've been kicked out of 2 leagues.
Yeah.
Are you
So, like,
serious?
Yeah. So it makes it hard.
Do you take it a little bit too seriously?
No, like yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yes is
Yeah.
the
Okay.
answer.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm currently lifetime banned from playing in Medicine Hat.
But don't you think, isn't that,
Hang on, sidebar. Why?
he attacked the ref,
No, but it
took his
was
skate off.
it was abusive official, but it was verbal. Okay, it was a very cutting verbal attack that earned me a lifetime ban. And then in Okotoks, actually, because it's considered more casual, they told me. Now you're looking at me. I'm currently 235 pounds. They told me you're running too fast. And I was like, I'm physically not capable of achieving such a speed that anybody would describe it as too fast. But so they were like, they told me, please don't come back.
What?
Yeah.
He's that fast.
That's not nice.
And I'm like, I'm not that fast. But they're just out for I get it. They're out for a jog. They're out to, kick the ball around.
Okay.
And I was like, I want to score some goals. And
That is so rude.
yeah, I was too fast. So
Well,
anyway,
I've never had that problem.
that's the first
Same.
and last time I've ever
same.
heard that.
I run at a glacial pace.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm not quick.
People see me from a distance and like, is he running?
Like if you see me running and it's
he
fast, you
walking?
should also run.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something
Oh,
coming.
Yeah, like if
What's
I'm
behind
running
you?
fast, you need
Yeah.
to run too. That's your cue to like get out of there.
But so like you're going and playing in that league, and that goes along with what I'm saying. You have a predisposition to playing whatever your chosen sport is at a high level, and those avenues, they kind of aren't available.
Well, that was the point I was making, is there's limited choices, and I have artificially even further limited those choices through my own choices. But you're right. Like, and so is that dance, or is that golf? Is it something that you don't need 11 other people
No.
to get together? Because
Is it
that
group
is
fitness?
hard.
Like, do you have a lot of kids coming to F45?
So something cool that we do at F45 is we partner with a lot of the local fitness, like the football league. And right now we've got the basketball kids in, like we're training those teams. So they're coming in and they're experiencing the F45 workouts. So it's helping them build like physical literacy with movement, a foundation for lifting, so that hopefully later on, when that's no longer their sport or the place for them, they have somewhere else to go and they know how to do that. Even if it's not with F45, it's like just in a regular gym. They know how to walk in and move some weight and move their body, which is not something that we had necessarily growing up. Like I didn't get added on training when I was playing basketball. And when I did, it wasn't until university, and it was in like the gym there with some minimal weightlifting where I didn't really know what I was doing. And it was almost felt too late, because it was like, now I'm finally going to learn this skill that I wish I had learned earlier. I have a friend and colleague, her name's Carla Lalonde, and she is out of Calgary, and she actually just opened a kids gym, which is really cool. It's called Fit Foundation, and it's in Calgary, and their whole aim is kids fitness. It is straight up just for kids. It is a gym for children, and they are teaching them how to move. So it's really cool, and it's brand new. They just opened this year. But yeah, look them up, and you're going to be like, wow, why wasn't this a thing for us?
New business idea
it's
for
pretty cool.
Okotoks.
It will run it.
Yeah, it's really cool, and she's killing it right now. They're doing amazing things. So,
Can I go
yeah.
to the group fitness?
Sure.
Because we kind of talked about, and I feel like we're getting back
Like
to
a
that.
devil's advocate thing?
No, not a devil's advocate thing. But like, is there some research? Because if you talked about the camaraderie and the group aspect of it, is there some research that shows like if you go to a group class versus try and do it on your own, you are X% more likely to stick with it?
Yeah, there are studies that do support that for sure. And I can tell you right now, like a lot of the people in the classes that I've had over the years, they're lifers. And the same can be said for like me as an employee with Good Life Fitness. your group fitness instructors are the longest standing employees with the company because we love what we do. We don't just cycle through. Like, you are in there and you're changing people's lives from a standpoint of like, you're helping them fall in love with movement and move their body in a way that feels good for them. And it's like an appointment date that you set, and you end up making friends, and you're seeing those people and they expect to see you. So you feel the need to be there, but you also get the benefit of moving your body and working a lot harder than maybe you would on your own. And that's not to say you can't also do that on your own, because of course you can. People do it every single day. But yeah, there are studies that support group fitness longevity versus being on your own. I like a mix of both, because I like to do the group fitness workouts that I teach are now at the point in my physical fitness that those are not my workouts. I'm up there.
You need extra.
Yes. I'm up there. I teach that class. I'm working hard. I'm working really hard. Don't get me wrong. My VO2 max is here because I'm talking the whole time. But I have to train outside of those classes on top of the classes that I teach in order to be fit enough to teach them, and also still keep progressing my fitness. For a while, I was just kind of at a standstill, and I'm like, why is nothing changing? Well, because you're doing the same thing and you actually need to switch it up. And that's kind of the beauty of fitness, where you got to keep trying different things. Yeah. You got to switch it up.
Well, and it's ever evolving. I think,
Yeah.
even just growing up in Okotoks, like the number of gyms that have been here that are no longer here, and the styles of working out. Like when we were kids, there was Greg's Back Alley Gym,
Yeah.
and there was Dexter's Elite Performance.
Jane Fonda on VHS.
Yeah, or Ty Bo.
I think I have some
Tybo.
Jillian Michaels DVDs upstairs.
Oh yeah.
And then it was kind of towards the end of the early 2000s was like the big CrossFit boom.
Yeah.
And there was, and so that's still going on. There's definitely a group fitness aspect to that. But I remember.
Oh yeah, CrossFit is major group fitness. It's team training, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just like F45 is team training. Yeah, people show up because they, want to work out, but they stay because they like the community.
That's exactly it. I was about to ask though, and we did have a question that we'd written down. Yeah, and I want to be very mindful, because not only are you doing a huge favor for the podcast coming on and straightening us out, sharing your story, but I do want to shout out F45. Prior to this recording, when we did our Rad Dad live event, Jody didn't even blink, offered up a silent auction item, huge supporter of us, and obviously our wives, my extended family, people love this group fitness workout, specifically this business. The question we did have, we used the C word. We said, is F45 a cult?
Define
I'm glad you clarified what C word.
Yeah. Define cult.
Well,
You guys aren't like marrying off the wives to like.
there's no supreme leader.
Yeah.
No.
do you go in? Actually,
there's no worship.
Okay.
There's no Kool-Aid. There's it's a fitness program, and just like with any workout, if you love it, you're going to share it with other people, right? Like if I have found something I'm passionate about in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't have to be fitness. If I found something that I find exciting and passionate about, I'm going to tell you about it. And that's what seems to happen, is like people get excited about something because they love it, right? Like, and I wouldn't say it's a cult.
So it's not that C word, it's the other C word. It's a community.
It's a community for sure, right? Like, and that's
That was
the
a
same
great
thing.
segue.
That's the same thing for, we're going to use that for branding. Thank you. Yeah. No, it's just like any sort of boutique studio, anything where you get a group of people going that love something, they're going to tell you about it, whether you want to hear about it or not,
That's fair.
I remember I went to pick up Megan the one time, and workout was finished. And it's just packed in there. And we had the kids, we're trying to go somewhere, and the workout's finished, but then everyone, it's group photo time.
Oh yeah. Every once in a while, for sure.
Yeah.
If we've had a really busy class or there's an event that's going on, for sure. Like, you take a photo with your friends, and we use it for social media and for promoting the business, but also it's just fun.
It's just fun. That's what I was going to say.
It's just fun. And you'll often find people like hang around and they talk, or they come early. Like, we open the doors 15 minutes before, and there's usually people there waiting because they want to talk with their friends, because you're not talking when we're working. That's not happening. Good luck.
Yeah.
I did go to one
before
class.
and after.
Have you done an F45? Have you done one?
I've not done an F45.
We're going to plan it. It's going to happen.
Maybe I'll go to like a Goodlife one.
Okay.
Because I've got the membership.
The sauna membership?
Also,
It's the full membership. The sauna is like a feature, but if you're reading the features of the membership, the sauna is like
I thought you paid
pretty
a
close to the
price
bottom.
just for the sauna.
I'll tell you what. I'll make sure that both of you can try both.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll make sure that both of you can try both. So, yeah, we can plan a Good Life day, and you can plan an F45 day.
I'm gonna need
And,
one. I should book it for right after I get back.
I
from
think
Scottsdale,
that
'cause that's gonna
you
be a
should
mess.
do a yoga class at Good Life. So that you get some stretching and some other sort of training. And then at F45, you should do a strength day or a hybrid day. Do not do a Saturday. That's a terrible idea for you.
I think we should. This is the follow up. This is the commitment we'll make to each
Okay.
other. Okay, we're gonna go to one of Kelsey's classes, either
Okay.
at Good Life or at F45, and we're gonna do it together.
There you go.
Because if I'm gonna have to go in and like wear like a tight shirt and like
You don't
have to wear.
I don't
no,
think that's a requirement.
no. It's on this. It's on
If
the
I'm
side.
gonna go, I got my bike shorts on. Like,
Hang on.
if I have to,
You have to wear tight clothes.
Well, Good Life's policy, the only thing, you just can't show nipples.
Okay, we might have to revisit this.
Also, going back to the signs around Good Life, there's all these
No
signs in the
nips?
locker room. No, it's like no filming in the locker room.
Oh, I know.
And it's like crazy how people have to be told that.
Yeah,
Like
it's wild.
That's back to the fitness influence.
It's
Like, do you have people
wild.
at the gym that actually come and like set up their stuff? And
Yeah.
that's a real thing.
Yeah.
I feel like so
It doesn't
at Good Life,
happen-
there's
it
not
do-
a ton. I feel like anytime I've been there,
Our location, well, you're there late at night.
I guess so. Yeah, I'm the only person there.
It does not happen during group fitness. Like people do not usually film their group fitness class. That's weird. But you do have people who come in and they will film their workouts, and they have permission to do so. And the rule is you don't have other members in it. But it's a public space, so you can do that. It is allowed. It's within the locker rooms that you're not supposed to. But the number of people that like you'll see
Need to be
doing
told
it,
that. It seems like
it's wild.
implied.
Like
This is
I'll
weird
walk
to change.
into our location's fairly good about it, but I'll walk into one of the Calgary clubs I teach at, and without fail, every time I am there's someone in there taking a picture of themselves in the bathroom, and I'm like, this is the bathroom, right? I don't know.
Yeah, I sent Dex the odd bathroom photo, but it's definitely
Well,
not
that's
me
between
flexing.
you and me, though. That's not for Instagram.
Yeah,
That's for
this is
private
like
use.
this is like on their stories 5 seconds later. You're sure of it.
Yeah.
So
It's the validation. Like,
to each
here I
their
am.
own. It's okay.
I think the people that get mad, I feel like, does anybody follow Joey Swole on Instagram?
What?
He's like
I
this
don't
just
think so.
absolutely ripped bodybuilder.
I don't
but
think
he's
so.
like, he's trying to like build, he's awesome. He's trying to build like gym positivity and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he will go after people who post on their social media like, oh, somebody walked in my frame while I was trying to do a set and like totally ruined it. And like sometimes they're confronting people. And he's like, no, the gym is not your space. It is everyone's space.
Yeah.
But it's like, he's made like an entire following on like calling out this like crazy influencer culture that has like come up around fitness. Yeah. He's a good follow. Shout out Joey Swole.
Sweet.
He's also a good looking dude. I have no
Dex is
shame
actually
saying
the president of the fan club.
Woo.
We actually have to wrap it up pretty soon here. You got a lot of fan
that. I
mail
gotta
to
send out
respond to.
I gotta send out some Joey Swole
Joey
merch.
Swole. I gotta get some shirts that cover up my nipples. I specifically for the Rad Dad Combine was like, I need to set these nips free. I bought like the
Cut the holes just out of.
Oh yeah.
You see the ones that are like the extra midriff. You know, they come up and they're like, "Are you big dude? Okay, you need a little extra space down here," and then it's just like spaghetti straps.
Yeah.
It's
That's
that
wild.
one nipple actually kind of comes here. So can't wear that at Good Life.
No,
Yeah.
that's the policy. No nips.
For male nips too.
Yeah, no
Nip,
nips.
That's good. That's very progressive.
That's the collective is no nips. So wear whatever the hell you want. Just,
I just
no
don't
nips.
even notice other people at the gym, and I think it's
Right,
because
I'm
like
so
not-
focused on what I'm doing, and I'm dying. Like
Yeah.
I don't have time.
That's my thing. I'm like I'm fighting for my life. I'm not in good shape. Like I
noticed
don't have
me.
time to care about what you're wearing or what you're doing
Yeah.
or like how your form looks. I'm like, I hope I don't pass out and like create a scene.
Yeah.
That's like my goal.
It is a weird counterculture. You know, like I've been to some establishments, the Mount Royal gym back in the day, and the term I'll use is peacocking. And there's a
yeah.
lot of people there. They're like, I am actually here to get noticed. Whereas I'm there, I'm like, don't look at me. I don't even want to look at me. You know, like I got to get my stuff done.
It's always
get out of here.
the like posing practice that I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah. Yeah, Tiger. Like there was a guy that used to wear just like these insanely short shorts, but around like the crotch area was just like a stitched tiger face, and like it was. I mean, I looked. I had to look. I kept looking.
How can you not?
There's no way. There's no point in this guy's workout where he didn't see me looking at his
He didn't wear
package.
a kitty meow meow without asking people to look at it.
Yeah, I was like, it works. Okay, here you go. You got my IRL like.
Yeah, roar.
Meow.
Oh my goodness. Do you have any more? Did we get through mostly everything?
I think so. Honestly, we kind of deviated a little bit, but I feel like we had a really great discussion. That was the whole point.
And that was the intention. We knew it was going to be ad lib, but we knew that in conversations with our wives and other people that know you, that you are so personable and you really care about what you're doing. You're a consummate professional. So I want to say thank you for coming on the Rad Dad Redemption podcast. But I also want to give you an opportunity for a little self promotion, a little plug here.
No, I'm good.
What's going on in your world?
Do you want to plug your gram or something?
Yeah,
Oh,
plug your gram,
no.
plug your F45.
No,
come to a class.
I honestly just, my aim from day one is help other people through sharing my story. So thank you for letting me do that and giving me a place to do that. So thank you both for having me. As far as where to find me, I'm at so many gyms. Walk into one, I'm probably there. I'm here in Okotoks at the Goodlife Fitness and the F45. So you can find me 5 and 6 a.m. at F45, as well as many other times. And we have amazing coaches for all of our sessions. It's a really great team. And as you heard, awesome community. And then at Goodlife, I'm there Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just all the time. And 2 Calgary locations as well. So I have a lot of classes. And if you want to know where to find them, specifically days, times, and what they are, you can shoot me a message. I'm Cray Cray on Instagram.
That was perfect. That's excellent.
That was such a good plug.
Yeah, heck yeah.
All right, well, we'll wrap it up there.
I think we've got some work, some self-betterment to engage in. I need some steps, but I'm going to take it easy on myself.
There we
Yeah.
go.
See?
If we've learned anything today.
There we go. Self-love, little bits here and there. You can do it.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming on.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thanks everybody for listening. Rad Dad Combine coming up on the 21st. Stay tuned to our socials because we're going to have some funny stuff to post. And then we'll have that breakdown with some more guests. And then we're still looking for a moderator, light, maybe for our debate episode. Is that...
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of outreach.
Your debate episode. What are you debating?
It's like we're going to have an assortment of topics and a third-party moderator. And it's going to be like, pull one out and you're for, you're against, go.
Wow.
Like classic, like high school debate.
Yeah.
Like
Be it
point
resolved.
decks.
Yes.
Okay.
Be it resolved that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want like an unbiased person who does not know you? Because my husband would be
Well,
really
at this
good.
point, we'll take anybody.
Yeah.
Like,
we'll take someone who responds
I will
to the
volunteer
call.
my husband. He's really, yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? Tell him to message us.
He loves debating.
Yeah. Does he love
He
podcasts?
will pick fights with me for fun. Yeah, he finds a lot of enjoyment out of that.
Sounds like our kind
He'll
of guy.
pick like a random fact that is a made up fact that is not real and commit so hard to it being right just to argue for fun.
Oh, he's in.
Yeah, he just like
That's our guy.
yeah, he's pretty fun.
Well, perfect.
Okay. Well, if he's back, if he's in, he'll be back.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.